Welcome to PhD&D on YouTube and the new series D&D Races of Kandalur. Kandalur is my new setting. These are the playable races that will be offered to players in this setting. They're the interesting races from around Kandalur, and they have a little bit of tweaking from the standard Player's Handbook options. This is for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, by the way. So you voted to hear first about the Fallen Elves, which is an elf variant. Contrary to popular belief, it is not Dark Elves or Drow. This is just a side variant of Elves. So let's hear a little bit about the history. Far to the south and east, you will find the lands of Amastir, home to a secluded race known as the Fallen Elves, or the Elves of the Fall. In a distant memory, they were moon elves of Kandalur until the dawn of the Everwar. Edoral, the first moon elf who fell into madness, is considered by some to be the greatest hero of all time. During the dawn of the Everwar, a great darkness covered the land as the aspect of a long-forgotten deity of evil was brought forth. The aspect, in his last attempt, tried to harness the power of the Dream Tree in order to break free his actual god. But Edoral, a moon elf hero, along with his followers, were ready. They had prepared protective rituals and wards around the tree. As the aspect suffered their traps, Edoral led the charge to bring him down for good. Stories say that Edoral's blade pierced the skin of the aspect. The elf then screamed in terror. Some say he saw things in that moment that drove him into madness. Either way, the aspect was wounded and fled for good. Edoral and his followers returned to their homes changed. They whispered nonsense about elders, eyes, and even chains. Some turned on their moon elf kin for even the smallest slights and slayed them outright. The Court of Stars eventually intervened and banished Edoral and his followers from Kandalur forever. Eventually, these fallen elves made their home further south and east and called it Amastir. It is their descendants that are the Fallen Elves of Kandalur. So now that you've heard a little bit about their homeland and their background, let's talk mechanically. How are they different from elves in the Player's Handbook? So I'm going to read off everything that they have. Some of it you will also see that elves in the Player's Handbook has, and some of that I have left out and these elves do not have. So first of all, the ability score adjustments. Well, number one, they have a dexterity score increase of 2, but they have a charisma score decrease of 1. Age-wise, they age about the same, but they only live to be anywhere from 4 to 450 years old at the most because of the madness within their blood. They often succumb to that and don't live, as long as other elves do. Size-wise and appearance, they're about 5 to 6 feet tall, anywhere from 90 to 140 pounds. So they're very slender. They are a lot lighter, and some people say that they're lighter because they don't have souls weighing them down, which is pretty rough, but hey, they are looked down upon by most other races. They have base walking speed of 30 feet. They have keen senses, which is proficiency in perception, but they also have frightening heritage, which is proficiency in intimidation. They get Fey ancestry, which gives them advantage on saving throws against being charmed. Magic cannot put them to sleep as well. And as for languages, they can speak, read, and write Common and Elvish, but they can also pick Abyssal or Primordial, and that has to do more with the story of their background. They get Elf weapon training, giving them proficiency with the long sword, short bow, and long bow. And they get a cantrip, but they have to pick a cantrip from the Warlock spell list, and they have to use Charisma as their spellcasting ability. They have something called Break the Chains, which allows them once per day to break free of any hold. They call upon this strange power from this aspect or this deity they're associated with, and they can actually break free of physical or magical restraints or break free of a hold by an actual creature. Touch of Madness is the trait that really stands out. And this one we'll see how it plays out, but it allows for a lot of great opportunities in role-playing, and it also allows for a lot of opportunities for them to not make it to the end of the campaign. Touch of Madness. Every time you take a rest, short or long, you must roll percentile, the sum total of your ability scores. So your 6 ability scores added up. That is the percent chance that you will not have a touch of madness. So the higher your ability scores, the more likely this will not affect you during specific rest. But if it does affect you and you roll outside of that percentage, during a short rest, you have to roll on the short-term madness chart. If you fail the percentile roll during a long rest, you have to roll on the long-term madness chart. Both can be found in the Dungeon Master's Guide, pages 259 and 260. Anytime you're knocked unconscious, upon waking, the first time you rest, you have to roll on the indefinite madness chart. This is a species with madness of the greatest kind, madness and chaos running through their blood. So, the hero or the player who chooses in this campaign to play one, should they make it from levels 1 all the way to level 20 as a Fallen Elf, they will be one of the first redeeming Fallen Elves in the entire history of the race. Because, let's just face it, the odds are stacked against you for living out a long and successful life. So, I hope you enjoyed that. That is the Fallen Elf of Kandalur. That is the mechanics, a short history and description of them. I want you to stick around, though, because I'm going to scroll through all the other playable races, and I want you to vote in the comments for which one you want to see next, because it's up to you which is the next race in D&D Races of Kandalur. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to comment and vote. So, this is a Magic the Gathering Modern Event deck from Hamanopi. Thank you, Hamanopi, for this. I actually do play Magic the Gathering, but I only started